Okay, population wars once again. Top 5 countries, which was blue versus versus next 15 versus everything else. Next 15 is red, everything else is pink. So the first thing we have here is the red team's invasion of Africa. They push into Zambia, capture, I think, Lusaka. From there, they do eventually take it over. They push into Mozambique, now threatening southern Africa. Namibia, due to the fact that it's underpopulated, gets taken out easily. Same with Botswana. Forces push into Mozambique and they surround Maputo and take it. From there, Spearhead is established to connect the two southern fronts. Then they quickly take out Zimbabwe. A landing is made there, and then in Madagascar. And finally, a push into South Africa begins, first with the non-populated part, and then eventually into the populated part. With it, the red team now has one big front with the pink team, and one big front with the blue team. So, the blue team doesn't really like the red team. I don't know. I'm not going to put any permanent alliances, as that would just be stupid. But what we will put is, let's see, the blue team and red team agreeing for a territorial exchange. We have the red team, this is rare, but I'm putting it, the red team giving up Japan and South Korea, while the blue team is giving up, what does the blue team give up? Blue team gives up all of Central Asia and Pakistan. And Mongolia. So both teams decided to do this. The blue team wanted to do this because it would really unite East Asia, and these are powerful nations with a lot of money. And the red team realized a huge population advantage would be helpful, as now they control Pakistan. Part of the deal, they also gained Alaska, and just Alaska. So they also have a lot more resources now in Central Asia, and a more united front against the blue team. You know what, no, this is not so fair. They were also given Australia and New Zealand. Okay, that's more fair. Because now, even though, would this happen in real life? No. Do I care? Still no. And with that, the two sides now kind of like each other, meaning they form a temporary alliance against the pink team. Basically, this is more a permanent alliance. They both want to force the other side out. So the first thing the blue team does, they invade first, quickly pushing into Mexico, capturing that area, and then into the Caribbean, which all falls under blue team control. So the plan is pretty obvious. The blue team takes over all the Americas, while the red team takes over the rest of the world. So the red team starts their push as well. They started pushing to Libya, and they take it. Yeah, doesn't stand much of a chance. Their goal is to kind of encircle this African area. The pink team, they fight hard. They're no real use though. Mali, West Africa starts to crumble. At the crucial battle of Conakry, Guinea, the red team manages to force the African force to surrender, which allows for the complete surrendering of the continent. And there we have it, the first continent to be fully under one team. While this was happening, by the way, the blue team took over all of Central America. For about the 8,000th time in my videos, we have a North versus South America conflict. It's gonna go the same way. A landing is made in Venezuela. From there, Colombian forces go here, allowing for the Darien Gap to be exposed. This is pretty obvious. Colombia then falls, the Guianas follow suit, and slowly, with actual supply help from the red team for the agreement, as they were really successful, the red team gets to keep this area, and which, I don't know, might help or might not. While the blue team manages to quickly sweep into South America around Brazil, rebels from Brazil actually, on the red team, actually liberate the country, and instead of establishing them on the red team, they establish their own country. So first of all, these Brazilian rebels help the blue team push out into and like a new republic. Is this? Oh wait, no. Who am I kidding? We could just make it this color. Brazil is now. It is a puppet state of neither. It is not a puppet state. Who am I kidding? It's not a puppet state. It's a neutral state. Wait, no. Screw this. Brazil is neutral. Eventually, the pink will make sense. Brazil is neutral. Yeah. And now the last thing we have is Europe. So the blue team and red team both agree to split Europe. Kind of like this. Yeah, they basically only give the British Isles to the blue team. And they're not so happy about this. So let's see how the war actually ends up going. They have to island hop in order to get there. However, they manage to make it to the Orkney Islands. And from there, they make a landing in northern Scotland. And then Ireland. And England is just, hold on. The former Soviet states, as well as the Soviet bloc, all kind of gets, swept through. Plus Finland, obviously. Yeah, they kind of, Turkish forces and Iranian forces actually push into the Balkans, going all the way up into Slovenia, while Russian forces push into their former spheres of influence. More Russian forces capture the entire Nordic lands, while blue team forces finally managed to capitulate England. With that, the red team manages to make a landing in Spain. The Iberian Peninsula falls, and a landing is made in Corsica, Sardinia. Italy gets captured, and the blue team, in a surprise move, because they want more land, they decide to make a landing in the lowlands and capture it. From there, they actually push into the rest of Germany, and Germany is split east and west. These borders are based off nothing that has ever happened in history. Denmark is captured by the red team, while France is split between the north and south. So now the blue team and red team don't like each other, as they agreed to partition the world in one way, and it ended up not working, as the blue team just wanted more. So now here they are. By the way, they had a lot of help from East Asian forces. Yeah, here they are. With a lot of control over some of the wealthiest and most populated, strongest regions of Earth. Brazil is a neutral state, and the first war we will have breakout between the red and blue team. We'll do that now. Why not? So the first thing that happens in this war is the Battle of the Amazon, which they managed to force the red team to move to Africa. And Alaska also, they kind of just welcomed as liberators in Alaska, so it's very easy for them to kind of just march in. In Australia and New Zealand, Australia falls easily as it's very big, so like a landing is made like here. A landing is kind of made like everywhere, or could be made everywhere. It's empty, and there's very few places you actually have to take over, which the blue team does. New Zealand is the same. An island is made on the North Island, and then the South, and yeah, okay. So, now the red team just lost some of their crucial things, like exclaves, and now we basically have the Americas, Northern and Western Europe, no, just like Northwestern Europe, I guess you could call that, and East Asia. We have the famous that's not it. Half the world's population lives in this circle. Something like that, right? Yeah, I don't know. So basically, the blue team has a significant population and probably strength advantage. And the red team needs to hope they could get them to surrender. So what they do is quickly launch everything they have, a full-scale invasion, into Germany, into the lowlands, and we have our first zoom-in battle of this war, and that is the Battle of Paris. So this battle will determine, I don't want to say the course of the video, however, whoever wins this, if the blue team wins, they'll be able to secure their foothold in Europe, and from there push into the rest of the continent. And if the red team wins, then they'll be able to kick the blue team off the continent and hope for a quick blue team surrender and maybe grab some land in the meantime. So we start with the so this is the Battle of Paris. So this is taking place mostly in like outside of Paris. For the sake of this, Paris is about there. I believe that is actually where it is. And the red team also controls this. So the blue team had to sacrifice a lot, and they don't have many troops in this area as they used a lot of them to gain all of this land in northwestern Europe. And forces from East Asia and the Americas were unable to supply. When they realize an invasion into Germany and the lowlands starts, they start supplying. However, the only country that really could supply Paris, or France at the moment, is the UK. And, like, the US forces are kind of, like, getting stuck. So, there's not much they could do. Red team forces establish a defensive along the Seine River, which let's just pretend goes like that. Threatening Paris, obviously. They push up into France. And basically, it's looking like they're going to establish a spearhead, cutting it off. So France moves a bunch of forces out to, what's it called? So they try to defend the whole border, leaving the city of Paris much more underdefended. They managed to cross the Seine up by Normandy, and then encircle Paris. This cuts off the supply line. An invasion starts from the west, and Parisian troops, which is actually a bunch of blue team's troops, a bunch of British troops as well, are forced to surrender, causing Paris to fall and France to fall to the red team, leading to the red team controlling all of Europe. They also take advantage of a weakened blue team and manage to take the British Isles, as well as Iceland. The blue team, seeing this, sues for peace, and the peace deal, which ends up being pretty humiliating, they're weakened, so even though they still have many forces in the Americas, they don't want to give up too much yet. They don't want to keep fighting, so they decided to just give up Greenland as well as Xinjiang and Tibet, which let's just pretend is that. And that's where I'm going to end this video. That was the first war. There'll obviously be another one. And yeah,